Well, usually I'd be saying good morning to the caucus, but good evening. I want to, first of all, I'm Sherman Packard, Speaker of the House. I come from Londonderry, and this is my 32nd year up here. Just give you a little bit of brief history about this historic building you're sitting in right now. The chamber you're sitting in right now is the oldest working chamber in the United States. It goes back to 200 years, a little bit plus, where this is the same working chamber as it was back in 1818. And we're pretty darn proud of it. And seeing that we have the third largest legislative body in the English-speaking world, only eclipsed by the United States Congress and the House of Commons. Other than that, we are the largest body. And for our services every year, which some of you might know, we get a grand total of $100 a year with no stipends. We are also the lowest paid in the, I would say, the world, not just the English-speaking world. We are probably the lowest paid. And the next largest legislature in the United States to us is Pennsylvania at 203. So we're double the size of the next largest legislative body in this country. So we have a pretty proud tradition here. We're very, when you come to the New Hampshire House and you become a member, you certainly don't do it for the money or the glory, because there's neither. But I do like to tell people, they ask me, some people say, well, what do you make a year? And I tell them, well, I make 25% more than the average member does. So I get an actual, the Senate President and I actually get $125 a year. So, yeah, I certainly haven't done this for the money. But we're so proud of all of you for what you do for the arts and everything. This is the New Hampshire tradition, and I hope we never lose it. As the legislators come and go through this building, as I've seen for the last 32 years, it's heartening. It really makes you feel for the state of New Hampshire that we have so many people that are willing to dedicate sometimes 2 years, sometimes 4 years, sometimes like me, 16 terms, 32 years. We've got some members here that have been here for going on close to 40 years. And there's a picture out in the hallway here of a gentleman that served here for 52 years from Manchester. So, welcome. If you all think that I have this suit on for you, I hate to tell you that I actually have another event to go to tonight. So, but I hope you have a great session here tonight. And again, welcome to the New Hampshire House.
You can come down. I brought my daughters, and I told them they could stand by the microphone. Come on, girls. Hello, I'm Sarah Stewart. I serve as the Commissioner of the New Hampshire Department of Natural and Cultural Resources, which is home to the New Hampshire State Council on the Arts, the State Library, the Division of Historic Resources, the Division of Forests and Lands, and the Division of Parks and Recreation. So really like all the best stuff in the state, which is amazing. This event is one of my absolute favorites, and I'm thrilled to bring my daughters, who are both 7, tonight so they can be inspired, as I am every year with this event. March 9th marked the 208th anniversary of the birth of the famous poet, artist, thinker, national hero, and symbol of Ukraine, Taras Grigorievich Shevchenko. Born on March 9th, 1814, Shevchenko died on March 10th, 1861. Today is March 11th. And there is not a more fitting way for us to honor this Ukrainian poet than to remember him here together, here at the New Hampshire State House. From childhood, for every Ukrainian, Shevchenko's poetry and paintings continue to provide a source of wisdom, patriotism, and love for the motherland. His literary heritage is regarded to be the foundation of modern Ukrainian literature and, to a large extent, the modern Ukrainian language. In 1847, Shevchenko was politically convicted for explicitly promoting the independence of Ukraine, writing poems in the Ukrainian language, and ridiculing members of the Russian imperial house. While his colleagues at the time did not understand that his activity led to the idea of the independent Ukraine, according to the secret police, he was the champion of their independence. Poetry is powerful. I commend each of the contestants today for investing their time and energy to prepare for the New Hampshire State Poetry Out Loud Championship, and I encourage them to continue to explore their language and to use it bravely and responsibly as we all try to make this world a better place. I want to thank the New Hampshire State Council on the Arts staff who have helped facilitate the Poetry Out Loud process over the past year. I'd like to thank the teachers, parents, friends, siblings, and mentors of the finalists, helping to push them along the process. And it's great to see you all here tonight in person. I also want to thank Executive Counselor Cindy Warmington, who is here representing the finest of state government, and I encourage everyone in this room leaving tonight to talk about Poetry Out Loud and encourage school children around the state and teachers to participate in next year's competition. Thank you very much for being here.
Good luck. Good luck.
I'm the current chair of the State Arts Council, and I just want to acknowledge that we have another counselor here, Peter Warburton. Peter, would you stand? Yeah, there he is. Peter follows us avidly, and like me, this is one of our favorite events to come to. And finally, after 2 years of being remote, we're in person, so that's even better. The State Council on the Arts is a state agency whose mission is to enhance quality of life in New Hampshire by stimulating economic growth through the arts, investing in creativity of students, making the arts accessible to the underserved populations, and preserving heritage arts. We provide grants, programs, professional development, and help build the capacity of our creative sector and creative economy. And I want to say the council is just delighted to put this on. Do you know that this year, over 8,000 high school students participated in competitive poetry recitation? Over 8,000. It's amazing. And behind that effort are a lot of amazing people. And although they're going to be thanked again, and they were thanked before, I'd like them to stand right now. Are there any teachers here who, as you know, teachers have restricted curriculums, didactic curriculums, tough mask and anti-mask warfare going on all around them? They're the front lines. And many of them took time out to do even more by supporting Poetry Out Loud. Any teachers in here, please stand. Also, I want to thank all the parents that have participants tonight. Your kids were 8 of 8,000, over 8,000. So would you stand, please? Woo. And so I don't want to leave out anybody, so are there supporters of the competitors down here? Please stand. Great. Thank you all. Thank you all. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our MC of the evening, Victoria Adewumi. I'll get it. Victoria is an equity communicator and network leader connecting people, place, and power for communities to realize their best health and well-being. Victoria works in the City of Manchester Health Department, champions health improvement strategies for under-resourced and historically marginalized communities, from grassroots, refugees, and immigrant-directed service nonprofits to faith-based organizations. Victoria has spent her entire career advocating and exhorting, with the goal of facilitating community self-empowerment. A first-generation Nigerian American and a New Hampshire native, Victoria holds a master's degree in political science and international affairs from the University of New Hampshire, and is a Bloomberg Fellow and Master of Public Health candidate at Johns Hopkins University. Victoria, it's all yours.
Deepest thanks to Dr. Brooks, Commissioner Stewart, Mr. Speaker, and another huge welcome to all of you for being in our historic and beautiful State House. We are so fortunate to witness incredible art and poetry this evening. We also have to acknowledge, and I'm thinking about Commissioner Stewart's powerful words, that poetry is power. I think we're in a unique moment, right? Following 2 years of a pandemic, and finally getting to convene this incredible event in person. We also would like to take a moment to acknowledge the impact of this time and those currently struggling globally. Thank you all so much. The New Hampshire State Council on the Arts has been partnering with the National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation for the past 17 years to bring poetry out loud to New Hampshire. And throughout all these years, there have been, get ready, 140,000 New Hampshire students who have found their own relationship with poetry through this program. Poetry Out Loud encourages the nation's youth to learn about the beauty and the power of language through the memorization and performance of great poems. Poems that span 8 centuries, poems that build their own public speaking skills and help them in confidence and learning about our own shared literary heritage. For many schools, Poetry Out Loud is the sole method of sharing poetry instructions and offers students a new and unique creative opportunity that may be like nothing else they've experienced before. Now, this does not happen alone. There are so many statewide events and sponsors that make an incredible event like this possible. We want to particularly acknowledge and say our deepest thanks to our lead sponsors, the National Endowment for the Arts, the Poetry Foundation, the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources, the Putnam Foundation, the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation, the New Hampshire Learning Initiative, and Bright Spot Consultants. Can we give a big round of applause for our sponsors? And we also would be remiss if we did not acknowledge the incredible organizational partners who also make an event like this possible. They include the New Hampshire Writers Project, the Poetry Society of New Hampshire, Slam Free or Die, New Hampshire Public Radio, New England College, and the Currier Museum of Art. So if we could give another thank you to our sponsors. Now, we have already acknowledged our teachers, but they are the hardest working folks in the game. Come on now. Can we please again say thank you for the Poetry Out Loud English teachers? Their role cannot be overstated. They are the ones who are giving students the incredible knowledge and education for their leadership today and tomorrow. They also put in dozens of hours of their own time sharing the passion and love of language to make this possible. And sitting in the front, you may have already noticed, we have our highly accomplished and very skilled panel of judges and our scoring team in the back. You can look in your programs for their bios. And we also want to say thank you to all of the wonderful judges from the virtual semifinal events that took place in the month of February. And while I'm saying thank yous to the Granite State Ambassadors. They are the volunteers in the green coats that greeted you at the door and will be helping us out this evening. Thanks again to parents, guardians, friends, families, school administrators, and local representatives, all for supporting our students tonight. And I saw some of you bop in a little bit earlier. We have the music of Christopher Dudley. Can we give him a big round of applause? And Christopher has much more in store for us over the course of the evening. Now, we are almost ready to start. Poetry is alive and thriving in New Hampshire with local poet laureates named, a teen poet laureate, readings, publications, and virtual poetry events. Poetry is visible and heard thanks to organizations like New Hampshire Writers Project, the Poetry Society of New Hampshire, Slam Free or Die, and many others. And we are celebrating our 17th year. Since 2005, this event has reached more than 4 million students, 68,000 teachers from 17,000 schools and organizations in every state, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Guam, and American Samoa. The New Hampshire program right here started with 10 high schools, and this year, 34 New Hampshire schools registered for the program with 26 holding school contests and 26 champions named. There were 2 virtual semifinal competitions in February, and historically, the participation rate ranges anywhere between 30% and 45% of all New Hampshire high schools using the curriculum, and 5,500 to 10,000 students digging into language and the context of great poetry. So that is the context. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Please, please, please silence your cell phones and any other devices that might make noise. And please, no flash photography during the program. We have an incredible photographer on hand, and she will be helping us take photos both now and at the end of the event. The students in tonight's competition, the students you're about to hear from, have selected poems from an anthology of over 1,000 poems. This anthology is updated every year to make sure that new and diverse voices are represented across centuries. And for those of you joining the live stream, hi live stream, we are making sure that you also can participate in this event. There are, however, a few poems that we do not have media permission for, and so you won't hear those on your end, just FYI. And now we will be giving the student competitors a chance to come out and make their presence known. We are so excited to have them with us. And my job is to introduce each student and share their bio. At that time, we would love your applause. So not before, not after, but when that student is being introduced. Judges will also be scoring each recitation, and we will again listen to the beautiful music of Christopher Dudley during that time. We also will have one student this evening who is serving as our calibrator. Now, this is a student who has also performed super well at the regional competition and kindly and graciously volunteered to recite, so the judges and scoring team will have a chance to kind of warm up and do a test run. Our calibrator tonight is Kayla Taylor of Concord High School. Kayla is 17 years old and is a junior at Concord High. There, she is involved in student government, is on the field hockey team, and will be doing both track and field this year. She has also been a competitive dancer for 12 years. Please give a big round of applause for Kayla Taylor.
A Song in the Front Yard by Gwendolyn Brooks. I've stayed in the front yard all my life. I want to peek at the back, where it's rough and untended and hungry weed grows. A girl gets sick of a rose. I want to go in the backyard now and maybe down the alley to where the charity children play. I want a good time today. They do some wonderful things. They have some wonderful fun. My mother sneers, but I say it's fine. How they don't have to go in at 8:45. My mother, she tells me that Johnny May will grow up to be a bad woman, that George will be taken to jail soon or late. On account of last winter, he sold our back gate. But I say it's fine. Honest, I do. And I'd like to be a bad woman too, and wear the brave stockings of night black lace, and strut down the streets with paint on my face.
Many thanks again to Kayla, and we are about to begin round one. So in this round, each student recites one poem, and we will be proceeding in alphabetical order by school name. To start us off, please welcome Jessica Birnbaum from Bow High School. Jess is a sophomore at Bow High School and has been writing poetry for 2 years. She is super excited to have this experience. She is currently a member of her school's swim team, concert choir, select choir, Tri-M, and yearbook. She loves music and sports, and during the fall season, she works as an assistant athletic trainer for Bow High School. She would like to thank her parents for inspiring her to go after her dreams and always trust herself.
It Was Not Death, For I Stood Up, by Emily Dickinson. It was not death, for I stood up, and all the dead lie down. It was not night, for all the bells put out their tongues for noon. It was not frost, for on my flesh I felt sirocco's crawl. Nor fire, for just my marble feet could keep a chancel cool. And yet it tasted like them all. The figures I have seen set orderly for burial reminded me of mine, as if my life were shaven and fitted to a frame and could not breathe without a key. And 'twas like midnight some, when everything that ticked has stopped, and space stares all around, or grisly frost's first autumn morns repeal the beating ground. But most, like chaos, stopless, cool, without a chance or spar, or even a report of land, to justify despair. Thank you.
Next up, we have Lam Kelly Nguyen from Brewster Academy. Kelly is a junior at Brewster Academy. Poetry is a big part of her life, as well as literature in general. We are so excited to have Lam Kelly Nguyen with us to join us for her resuscitation. Please welcome Lam Kelly Nguyen.
Slant by Suji Kwok Kim. If the angle of an eye is all, the slant of hope, the slant of dreaming, according to each life, what is the light of this city? Light of Lady Liberty, possessor of the most famous armpit in the world. Light of the lovers on Chinese soap operas, throwing barbecue ducks at each other with that live it up while you're young, woo me kind of love. Light of the old men sitting on crates outside giga shops, selling dried seahorses in plastic temples of heaven. Light of the yin and yang junk palace. Light of the Golden Phoenix hair salon. Light of Wiggle-Ramas. Light of the suntanners in Central Park, turning over like rotisserie chickens sizzling on a spit. Light of the Pluck You and Gone with the Wings fried chicken shop. The parking meter leaners, the glamazons, the oglers wearing fern-wilting quantities of cologne, strutting, trash-talking, glorious. The immigrants, the refugees, the peddlers, stockbrokers and janitors, stenographers and cooks, all of us making and unmaking ourselves, hurrying forwards toward who will become one way only, one life only. Free in time, but not from it. Here in the city, the living make together and make and unmake over and over. Quick, quick, ask heaven of it, of every mortal relation. Feeling that is fleeing. For what would the heart be without a heaven to set it on? I can't help thinking no word will ever be as full of life as this world. I can't help thinking of thanks.
Next up from Conant High School is Ella Weinman. Ella is a junior at Conant High School and first-time semifinalist for Poetry Out Loud. She enjoys the poetry of Emily Dickinson and spends her time acting in the drama club and working with her local Destination Imagination team. Ella is also the head of her school's Interact Club and enjoys the word didactic. Please welcome Ella.
The Wind Hover by Gerard Manley Hopkins. To Christ our Lord. I caught this morning, morning's minion, kingdom of daylight's dauphin, dapple dawn-drawn falcon, in his riding, of the rolling level underneath him steady air, and striding high there, how he rung upon the rein of a wimpling wing, in his ecstasy. Then off forth on swing, as a skate's heel sweeps smooth on a bow bend, the hurl and gliding rebuffed the big wind. My heart in hiding stirred for a bird, the achieve of, the mastery of the thing. Brute beauty and valor and act, oh, air, pride, plume, here, buckle. And the fire that breaks from thee then, a billion times told lovelier, more dangerous. Oh, my chevalier. No wonder of it. Sheer plod makes plow down Cillian shine. And blue bleak embers, ah, my dear, fall gall themselves and gash gold vermilion.
Next up, we have Savannah Davis from Derryfield School. Savannah is a junior, and this is her third year competing in Poetry Out Loud, and through her participation, reciting poetry has become a passion. She also loves to write her own original poetry, and when not in school, she enjoys doing musical theater and hopes to pursue acting in college. Big round of applause for Savannah Davis.
Blade Unplugged by Tim Seablaze. It's true. I almost never smile. But that doesn't mean I'm not in love. My heart is that black violin played slowly. You know the moment, late in the solo, when the voice is so pure, you feel the blood in it. The wound between rage and complete surrender. That's where I'm smiling. You just can't see it. The sound bleeding perfectly inside me. The first time I killed a vampire, I was sad. I mean, we were almost family. But that's so many lives ago. I believe in the cry that cuts into the melody, the strings calling back the forgotten world. When I think of the madness that has made me and the midnight I walk inside all day long, when I think of that one note that breaks what's left of what's human in me, man, I love everything.
There is Annalise Locke from Hopkinton High School. Annalise is a senior at Hopkinton and a self-proclaimed theater kid. She has been feeling rather existential lately and has had a very fun time finding, memorizing, and performing poems that she feels matches her mood. She hopes that her poems will help you feel a bit of the existential dread that plagues her every waking moment so that we all can suffer together, if only for a little while. Please welcome Annalise Locke.
The world is about to end, and my grandparents are in love, by Kara Jackson. Still, living like they orbit one another, my grandfather, the planet, and grandma, his moon, assigned by some gravitational pull. They have loved long enough for a working man to retire. Grandma says she's not tired. She wears her husband like a coat that survives every season, talks about him the way my parents talk about vinyl, the subject salvaged by the tint of their tongues. Grandma returns to her love like a hymn, marks it with a color. When the world ends, will it suck the earth of all its love? Will I go taking somebody's hand, my skin, becoming their skin? The digital age is taking away our winters, and I'm afraid the sun is my soulmate. That waste waits for a wet kiss. Carbon calls me pretty, and I think death is a good first date. I hope when the world ends, it leaves them be. Spares Grandpa and his game, Grandma spinning corn into weight, the two of them reeling into Western theme songs, the TV louder than whatever's coming.
Joining us now will be Daniel Cortine of Kearsarge Regional High School. Daniel is ecstatic to be back for his third year of Poetry Out Loud, and now a senior. He has enjoyed 4 years of Kearsarge Regional High School theater and tennis. Outside of Kearsarge, Daniel loves playing piano, performing in the New London Barn Playhouse's junior intern program, and playing Dungeons and Dragons with friends. He hopes to enjoy his final year of Poetry Out Loud competitions and wishes to thank everyone for supporting this event. Please welcome Daniel Cortine.
Break, Break, Break by Audre Lord Tennyson. Break, break, break on thy cold gray stones, O sea. And I would that my tongue could utter the thoughts that arise in me. Oh, well for the fisherman's boy, that he shouts with his sister at play. Oh, well for the sailor lad, that he sings in his boat on the bay. And the stately ships go on to their haven under the hill. But oh, for the touch of a vanished hand, and the sound of a voice that is still. Break, break, break at the foot of thy crags, O sea. But the tender grace of a day that is dead will never come back to me.
Please welcome Emily Matos of Kingswood Regional High School. Emily is 15 years old and a sophomore. She learned about Poetry Out Loud through English class and decided to give it a shot after her history with theater. She enjoys playing lacrosse in her free time. Let's give a big round of applause for Emily Matos.
Siren Song by Margaret Atwood. This is the one song everyone would like to learn, the song that is irresistible, the song that forces men to leap overboard in squadrons, even though they can see the beached skulls. The song nobody knows because anyone who has heard it is dead, and the others can't remember. Shall I tell you the secret? And if I do, will you get me out of this bird suit? I don't enjoy it here, squatting on this island, looking picturesque and mythical with these two feathery maniacs. I don't enjoy singing this trio, fatal and valuable. I will tell the secret to you, only to you. Come closer. This song is a cry for help. Help me. Only you can. You are unique at last. Alas, it is a boring song, but it works every time.
And now we will be hearing from Grace O'Brien of Laconia Christian Academy. Grace is a senior at Laconia Christian Academy and has many artistic talents. She plays the violin, sings, and is part of an Irish folk band with her siblings. Grace has been involved in her school's theater program for many years. Please give a big round of applause for Grace O'Brien.
Revenge by Letitia Elizabeth Landon. I gaze upon her rose-wreathed hair and gaze upon her smile. Seem as you drank the very air her breath perfumed the while. And wake for her the gifted line that wild and witching lay, and swear your heart is as a shrine that only owns her sway. 'Tis well, I am revenged at last. Mark you that scornful cheek. The eye averted as you passed spoke more than words could speak. Aye, now by all the bitter tears that I have shed for thee, the racking doubts, the burning fears, avenged they well may be. By the nights passed in sleepless care, the days of endless woe, all that you taught my heart to bear, all that yourself will know. I would not wish to see you laid within an early tomb. I should forget how you betrayed and only weep your doom. But this is fitting punishment, to live and love in vain. O my wrung heart, be thou content and feed upon his pain. Go thou and watch her lightest sigh. Thine own it will not be. And bask beneath her sunny eye. It will not turn on thee. 'Tis well, I am revenged at last. "'Tis well, the rack, the chain, the wheel far better hadst thou proved. Even I could almost pity feel, for thou art not beloved."
Well, folks, that was the end of round one. Can you believe it? Now, what you just heard is being evaluated on lots of different criteria, including accuracy, physical presence, voice and articulation, dramatic appropriateness, and overall performance. These criteria are each weighed a little bit differently, but with that said, please keep in mind that our judges' decisions are final and confidential. Now, we are going to take a quick break, but before we do that, I would be remiss if I did not recognize some of the talented artists that we have with us this evening. First, taking photos, I think I saw her, is the incredible Cheryl Center. Can we give her a big round of applause? There we go. She is an absolutely wonderful New England freelance photojournalist based in Derry, New Hampshire, who specializes in political campaign coverage, and she has worked for many, many major news outlets, including the New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, and the Associated Press. And in 2003, Cheryl won the Team Pulitzer Prize in Spot News. And again, before our break, I have already said, but it bears repeating, we have the incredible Christopher Dudley with us, who is a musician from Barnstead, New Hampshire, and an alumni of the Concord Community Music School. He plays mostly Irish and Scottish fiddle music with some other genres in between. And we have a big thank you to give to both Christopher and to Cheryl. Round of applause to them both. You get to hear more of his music while we take a quick 5-minute break and come back with more poetry. Thank you so much. Guys, we are about to get started on round 2. Who is ready for round 2 with these incredible students? We, in this round, are going to have our students present in reverse alphabetical order. The first shall be last. So, from Laconia Christian Academy, please help me welcome Grace O'Brien.
Four Glimpses of Night by Frank Marshall Davis. Eagerly, like a woman hurrying to her lover, night comes to the room of the world and lies, yielding and content against the cool, round face of the moon. Night is a curious child, wandering between earth and sky, creeping in windows and doors, daubing the entire neighborhood with purple paint. Day is an apologetic mother, cloth in hand, following after, peddling from door to door. Night sells black bags of peppermint stars, heaping cones of vanilla moon until his wares are gone. Then shuffles homeward, jingling the gray coins of daybreak. Night's brittle song, sliver thin, shatters into a billion fragments of quiet shadows. At the blaring jazz of a morning sun.
Please give a big round of applause for Emily Matos from Kingswood Regional High School.
A Litany for Survival by Audre Lord. For those of us who live at the shoreline, standing upon the constant edges of decision, crucial and alone. For those of us who cannot indulge the passing dreams of choice, who love in doorways, coming and going, in the hour between dawns, looking inward and outward at once before and after, seeking a now that can breed futures like bread in our children's mouths, so their dreams will not reflect the death of ours. For those of us who were imprinted with fear, like a faint line in the center of our foreheads, learning to be afraid with our mother's milk. For by this weapon, this illusion of some safety to be found, the heavy-footed hoped to silence us. For all of us, this instant and this triumph, we were never meant to survive. And when the sun rises, we are afraid it might not remain. When the sun sets, we are afraid it might not rise in the morning. When our stomachs are full, we are afraid of indigestion. When our stomachs are empty, we are afraid we may never eat again. When we are loved, we are afraid love will vanish. When we are alone, we are afraid love will never return. And when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard nor welcomed. But when we are silent, we are still afraid. So,
Next up from Kearsarge Regional High School, please welcome Daniel Cortine.
Self-Inquiry Before the Job Interview by Gary Soto. Did you sneeze? Yes, I rid myself of the imposter inside me. Did you iron your shirt? Yes, I used the steam of mother's hate. Did you wash your hands? Yes, I learned my hygiene from a raccoon. I prayed on my knees, and my knees answered with pain. I gargled. I polished my shoes until I saw who I was. I inflated my resume by employing my middle name. I walked to my interview early, the sun like a ring on an electric stove. I patted my hair when I entered the wind of a revolving door. The guard said, "For a guy like you, it's the 19th floor." The economy was up. Flags whipped in every city plaza in America. This I saw for myself as I rode the elevator. Empty, because everyone had a job but me. Did you clean your ears? Yes, I heard my fate in the drinking fountain's idiotic drivel. Did you slice a banana into your daily mush? I added a pinch of salt, 2 raisins to sweeten my breath. Did you remember your pen? I remembered my fingers when the elevator opened. I shook hands that dripped like a dirty sea. I found a chair and desk. My name tag said my name. Through the glass ceiling, I saw the heavy rumps of CEOs. Outside my window, the sun was a burning stove. All of us, pushing papers to keep it going.
Please help me welcome from Hopkinton High School, Annalise Locke.
The Bookshelf of the God of Infinite Space by Jeffrey Skinner. You'd expect an uncountable number, acres and acres of books in rows, like wheat or gold bullion, or that the words just appear in the mind, like banner headlines. In fact, there's one shelf, holding a modest number, 10 or 12 volumes. No dust jackets because no dust. Covers made of gold or skin or golden skin or creosote or rain-soaked macadam, or some mix of salt and glass. You turn a page and mountains rise, clouds drawn by children bubble in the sky. You are 20 again, trying to read a map dissolving in your hands. I say you and mean me. Say God and mean librarian, who, after long research, offers you a glass of water and an apple. You, grateful to discover your name, a footnote in that book.
Joining us now from the Dairyfield School, please give it up for Savannah Davis.
The Affliction of Richard by Robert Bridges. Love not too much, but how? When thou hast made me such, and dost thy gifts bestow, how can I love too much? Though I must fear to lose, and drown my joy in care, with all its thorns I choose the path of love and prayer. Though thou, I know not why, didst kill my childish trust, that breach with toil did I repair, because I must, and spite of frightening schemes with which the fiends of hell blaspheme thee in my dreams. So far, I have hoped well. But what the heavenly key, what marvel in me wrought shall quite exculpate thee? I have no shadow of thought. What am I that complain? The love from which began my question, sad and vain, justifies thee to man.
That is a toe tapper. I don't care who you are, you guys. Next up, we have the pleasure of hearing from Conant High School, Ella Weinman.
The Collar by George Herbert. I struck the board and cried, "No more! I will abroad." What? Shall I ever sigh and pine? My lines in life are free, free as the road, loose as the wind, as large as store. Shall I be still in suit? Have I no harvest but a thorn, to let me blood and not restore what I have lost with cordial fruit? Sure, there is wine, before my sighs did dry it. There was corn before my tears did drown it. Is the year only lost to me? Have I no bays to crown it, no flowers, no garlands gay, all blasted, all wasted? Not so, my heart, but there is fruit, and thou hast hands. Recover all thy sigh-blown age, on double pleasures leave thy cold dispute of what is fit and not. Forsake thy cage, thy rope of sands which petty thoughts have made, and made to thee good gables to enforce and draw and be thy law, while thou didst wink and wouldst not see. Away, take heed. I will abroad. Call in thy death's head there, tie up thy fears. He that forbears to suit and serve his need deserves his load.
as I raved and grew more fierce and wild at every word, methought I heard one calling, "Child." And I replied, "My lord."
And now, joining us from Brewster Academy, please give a big round of applause for Lamb Kelly Noing.
Whenever You See a Tree by Padma Venkatraman. Think how many long years this tree waited as a seed for an animal or a bird or wind or rain to maybe carry it to maybe the right spot, where again it waited months for seasons to change until time and temperature were fine enough to coax it to swell and burst its hard shell so it could send slender roots to clutch at grains of soil and let tender shoots reach towards the sun. Think how many decades and centuries it thickened and climbed and grew taller and deeper, never knowing if it would find enough water or light, or when conditions would be right so it could keep on spreading leaves, adding blossoms, and dancing. Next time you see a tree, think how much hope it holds.
And finally, please help me welcome back to our stage from Bow High School, Jessica Birnbaum.
The Light, the Dead Sea by Frank Stanford. There are many people who come back after the doctor has smoothed the sheet around their body and left the room to make his call. They die, but they live. They are called the dead who lived through their deaths, and among my people, they are considered wise and honest. They float out of their bodies and light on the ceiling like a moth, watching the efforts of everyone around them. The voices and the images of the living fade away. A roar sucks them under the wheels of a darkness without pain. Off in the distance, there is someone like a signalman swinging a lantern. The light grows. It becomes very intense, like music. They see the faces of those they loved, the truly dead who speak kindly. They see their father sitting in a field. The harvest is over and his cane chair is mended. There is a towel around his neck, the odor of bay rum. Then they see their mother standing behind him with a pair of shears. The wind is blowing. She is cutting his hair. The dead have told these stories to the living.
All right, folks. Yeah, give it up again. Such beautiful music. And we have reached the end of round 2. What happens now? Well, our scoring team will tabulate which top 4 performers will advance to our round 3. In a few minutes, we'll take another 5-minute break, but before that, I want to share with you all the prizes and awards that our students have and will receive. So all of the high school champions you have heard have been gifted books of poetry, including Amanda Gorman's Call Us What We Carry, Poetry Out Loud journals and posters, as well as a Poetry Out Loud trophy. All of the state finalists tonight have also been gifted all those incredible things, as well as complimentary passes and memberships for 1 year to the Poetry Society of New Hampshire, the New Hampshire Writers Project, Slam Free or Die, and the Currier Museum of Art. So our alternate champion for our evening tonight will, in addition, receive $200 for the purchase of poetry books for their school library, as well as a $100 cash prize. And our New Hampshire state champion, selected this evening, will receive $500 for the purchase of poetry books for their school library, a $200 cash prize, and a $2,000 scholarship to New England College. Let's give a big round of applause for our sponsoring organizations and those great prizes. We are now going to take a 5-minute break before coming back for round 3. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Before we begin, we cannot fail to acknowledge our amazing sound and video team that is pulling off this event without a hitch. So I would like to, number one, acknowledge our videographer, Jonathan Geddes. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for capturing all of our students this evening. We also have to thank this powerful duo, Bob Gagney and John Haytab. Bob is helping with sound, and it feels like everything else, as well as John, who is our sound engineer, and we are so, so thankful to you all. Another round of applause for these Fantastic, folks. So in this round, we have 4 students who will be reciting in a random order that has already been determined. Our judges and scorers have done such a wonderful job in helping us determine who those students will be. And so our students that are moving on to round 3 are Savannah Davis, Annalise Luck, Emily Matos, and Lam Kelly Noying. Round of applause for them. And I want to give a big round of applause as we welcome to take a seat all of the students who participated and worked so hard to do an incredible job. Big round of applause for all of our students. All right, folks, we're going right into round 3. Please keep the applause going for Savannah Davis.
Emily Dickinson at the Poetry Slam by Dan Vera. I will tell you why she rarely ventured from her house. It happened like this. One day, she took the train to Boston, made her way to the darkened room, put her name down in cursive script, and waited her turn. When they read her name aloud, she made her way to the stage, straightened the papers in her hands, pages and envelopes, the backs of grocery bills. She closed her eyes for a minute, took a breath, and began. From her mouth, perfect words exploded. Intact formulas of light and darkness. She dared to rhyme with words like cochineal and describe the skies like diadem. Obscurely worded incantations filled the room with an alchemy that made the very molecules quake. The solitary words she handled in her upstairs room with keen precision came rumbling out to make the electric lights flicker. 40 members of the audience were treated for hypertension. 20-year-old dark-haired beauties had found their hair had turned a Moses white. Her second poem erased the memory of every cell phone in the nightclub. And by the 4th line of the 6th verse, the grandmother in the upstairs apartment had been cured of her rheumatism. The papers reported power outages. The area hospitals taxed their emergency generators, and sirens were heard to wail through the night. Quietly, she made her way to the exit, walked to the terminal, and rode back to Amherst. She never left her room again, and never spoke such syllables aloud.
Please give a big round of applause for Annalise Locke.
The Glories of Our Blood and State by James Shirley. The glories of our blood and state are shadows, not substantial things. There is no armor against fate. Death lays his icy hand on kings. Scepter and crown must tumble down, and in the dust be equal made with the poor, crooked scythe and spade. Some men with swords may reap the field and plant fresh laurels where they kill, but their strong nerves at last must yield. They tame but one another, still, early or late, they stoop to fate, and must give up their murmuring breath when they, pale captives, creep to death. The garlands wither on your brow, then boast no more your mighty deeds. Upon death's purple altar now, see where the victor victim bleeds. Your heads must come to the cold tomb. Only the actions of the just smell sweet and blossom in their dust.
Please give a big round of applause for Emily Matos.
Ozymandias by Percy Bysshe Shelley. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal, these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.
And finally, help me welcome Lamb Kelly Noing.
Lines written in early spring by William Wordsworth. I heard 1,000 blended notes, while in a grove I sate reclined, in that sweet mood when pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts to the mind. To her fair works did nature link the human soul that through me ran, and much it grieved my heart to think, what man has made of man? Through primrose tufts in that green bower, the periwinkle trailed its wreaths, and 'tis my faith that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. The birds around me hopped and played, their thoughts I cannot measure, but the least motion which they made, it seemed a thrill of pleasure. The budding twigs spread out their fan to catch the breezy air. And I must think, do all I can, that there was pleasure there. If this belief from heaven be sent, if this be nature's holy plan, have I not reason to lament what man has made of man?
Well, that is the end of our final round. We would once again like to thank the House of Representatives and the New Hampshire State House staff for welcoming us to such a historic and beautiful building. We also would like to extend another heartfelt thanks to the Granite State ambassadors, our runners, and all of our Poetry Out Loud teachers, parents, guardians, friends, and family who have supported these amazing students. Give them another round of applause. We are going to take a very brief break and be back momentarily with our results. Thank you all. Come on, you can do better than that. One more big round of applause for Christopher Emily! Well, while we're having the applause go, can we please give a big round of applause and welcome back our amazing students who did such an incredible job, stunning performances. These are truly such exceptional, talented, gifted young people, and we are so honored to recognize your hard work and your performance tonight. I have the fun job of handing out the certificates and the trophy. So when I call your name, if you'll please come to the podium, we'll take some pictures, and then we have some announcements to make. So first up is our calibrator, Kayla Taylor. Next up, let's recognize Jessica Birnbaum. Next up, we get to honor Lam Kelly Noing. Next up, let us applaud Ella Weinman. Next up, let us recognize Savannah Davis. Next up, I have Annalise Locke. A big round of applause for Daniel Cortine. Next up, big round of applause for Emily Matos. And finally, a big round of applause for Grace O'Brien. All right, and now, drum roll, please. We'll first be announcing our alternate state champion and then our state champion. So our alternate state champion for tonight is Annalise Locke. And our state champion, drum roll, please. Emily Matos. Thank you again to our students, our volunteers, our parents and supporters, our teachers. We could not do this without you. Have a great evening. And remember, poetry is power.